Hi, Professor, and welcome to my 4-month plan for teacher well-being. This program is designed for everybody who works in the school, from the front office to the cafeteria, all of the custodians out to the bus lot. Everybody who works in a school could really use some self-care, right, and some well-being. So we're going to start off. I envision having 4 opportunities of probably 10 or 15 minutes realistically in a staff meeting if my principal will give me that much time. So these are designed to be really small chunks of information that teachers can take away and digest, that I thought I might supplement with weekly emails, actually, um, in between sessions. So in the first month, we're going to talk about why self-care is so important, how we as caregivers are particularly vulnerable. Um, Sometimes when you're busy taking care of other people, um, it feels selfish to take care of yourself. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about secondary trauma and the risk of burnout. We'll go in a little bit more about what secondary trauma is. You know, when you're exposed to the traumatic events that are happening to other people, how you can internalize that. What are some of the symptoms of secondary trauma? And then we're going to talk about the risk of burnout, how burnout makes us useless and sometimes forces us to find new jobs. Some of the things that we can do to avoid burnout, maintaining physical health, work-life balance, all of these things can help us take better care of ourselves, make us on the inside more fit to deal with other people's trauma. In the second month, we're going to talk specifically about mindfulness. Um, Mindfulness can be scary to people. People think it's kind of woo woo. They don't understand. They automatically think that you're like going to force them to be a Buddhist. But really, mindfulness just allows us to put space between what happens and how we respond to what happens. So we are responding rather than reacting. This is particularly important when we're dealing with students who have dealt with trauma, who can escalate into tiny tornadoes and hurricanes in our classrooms. It's super important that we not escalate with them, and that is one of the benefits of mindfulness. It allows us to sort of stay a step below on the crisis cycle. I like the image of the upstairs and downstairs brain, and I would show also the video of Dan Siegel's brain model with using your hand and your thumb and the amygdala and all that. So how we can stay in our downstairs brain is by utilizing mindful tools. The first one and the easiest tool is breathing. Taking deep cleansing breaths, clearing out stale air in our lungs really helps the vagus nerve. It helps regulate. Um, I love this slide of breathe, and as I develop the PowerPoint specifically for this activity, I would put this slide in several places and train the staff to breathe whenever they see it. And that it could actually be then like printed out and hung in the staff lounge or in the bathrooms, in the transportation office, wherever people need to remember to breathe. In the third month, we'll talk a little bit more specifically about mindful activities. For example, mindful journaling, which really is just journaling, right? Just getting things out on paper in a private place. Nobody has to read it, or anyone can read it. Your therapist can read it, whoever. But it's really just between you and the paper. I like this prompt. By the time my head hits the pillow tonight, I intend to feel like I really, right? What a great way to start the morning. Starting the morning with intention helps you realize that intention during the day, right? Even just saying it out loud can help you manifest that, make it a reality during the day. Another favorite mindful activity of mine is taking a rainbow walk, walking wherever you are. I'm really paying attention to your surroundings, noticing the colors, noticing the smells and the sounds, looking specifically for colors of the rainbow. And then to take it a step further, you can take paper and pencil with you, or using your iPhone, you can take pictures of the things that you see and then draw them later, which is what I opted to do because I don't really have time during the day to just stop and draw. But I have a couple of seconds walking through schoolway halls, um, going to the get my hair cut, watching in classrooms, and so I took pictures and then drew them later. I didn't use color in them because I have absolutely no artistic skill, but I feel like showing staff my drawings maybe will help them feel better about their own drawings. And then I'd like staff to commit to one activity that they'll try 2 or 3 times a week for a month, even if it's just breathing with intention, if it's a 2-minute mindfulness activity from an app a couple times a week. Whatever they're going to do, I'd like them to write it down. Sometimes writing things down helps people stick to it. And again, I'm going to send these emails maybe weekly in between our sessions, just reminding staff and maybe sending out some encouragement and some positive words. In the 4th month, we're basically going to review what we've done over the last 3 months, right? We're going to talk about secondary trauma again, review the importance of breathing. We're also going to talk some more about mindfulness. And then I'd like to take a page out of Fostering Resilient Learners by Sowers and Hall. Kristen Sowers talks about avoiding burnout by paying attention to our health, by exercising weekly and then eating correctly, by loving not just other people, which we're really, really good at, but also loving ourselves and doing that consciously and without like feelings of shame, right? And then professional competence. What are the things that we can do to make us better at our jobs, no matter what our jobs are? And then feelings of gratitude. Acknowledging the things that you are grateful for can actually alter your mindset, making you more grateful for other things. It's strange how that works. I also want to talk about obstacles and successes. Obstacles are real things. There are things that keep us from being successful in our mindful practices and our self-care practices. So what are they? Probably time, right? Feeling stupid, not knowing what to do, but mostly time. So I think that when we start sharing obstacles, people will see that there's a commonality and maybe we can work together to overcome those obstacles. For example, I don't have time to do a 3-minute morning meditation. Well, maybe if everybody gets to work 5 minutes early, we can do something like over the PA system, something like that. And then I want to talk about successes, even little successes. Like I got up this morning 5 minutes early and I did some yoga stretches in my living room, just like 2 minutes of them. That's a wicked success. So that's how I plan to spend the 4 months. Thanks very much for your attention. And here are the references I used. Bye.